Right, good morning everybody and welcome to the second day of the seminar. I hope you've been enjoying yourselves. Yesterday felt a real sense of energy and a buzz, so hopefully today will be like that too. So it is today with a sense of excitement, a little disbelief, and certainly with a huge amount of pride that I take up the presidency this year. We have an incredible impact on people in our communities, particularly people who face the most significant challenges in living an ordinary life with the same freedoms and human rights everybody deserves to expect in their lives. My commitment to social justice for people that draw upon our support will be writ large for my presidential year. Firstly, I'd like to thank Beverly, our outgoing president, who alongside being a great mentor and source of support for me, personally has challenged and provoked us as ADASS to lead for equality and diversity. Who was our first black president, has been our inspiration for inclusive leadership, for promoting diversity, and has set an expectation for ADASS in how we behave, and I expect to mirror that, so thank you, Beverly. Our strength as a community of directors of adult social services and social care leaders who support us to be in those roles is our ability to embrace diversity and different perspectives, and to challenge ourselves to create an environment where we nurture our diverse leadership. Our strength as a community of directors of adult services and social care leaders is that ability to do that. In Nottinghamshire, I learnt a great deal as we're an early pilot from the social care res in how that we can do that. It taught me two things. Firstly, that it's really not acceptable that we have a long way to go to achieve parity of experience for all of our workforce and the people we support. Secondly, that structural change and systemic transformation is possible with small steps. The first step is about being open about our problems, our successes, our challenges, and understanding through data and lived experience how we can make those small changes. The social care res and reading that report was an emotional roller coaster for me. So first, I had shock, I had anger, then I had disappointment, and then I had a real determination to act on some of those findings. Those experiences in our workforce are simply not good enough. Within ADASS, we lack the meaningful data to move beyond the talk on how we lead for diversity. You as members challenged us last year very strongly at seminar that we needed to do more. Doing more starts with accountable leadership. I can certainly provide that, and that's going to be my intention. The next step is fully understanding where we are, and that relies on you. So one small step you can support with is returning your data returns on your personal data and declaring your diversity. So I'm sorry, I'm full of a cold and I'm struggling to talk, so bear with me. I'm avoiding having a Theresa May moment, so do bear with me. So now let me tell you a little bit about me and my professional journey. I'm really proud to work in social care and have done all of my life. I've held the hand of a person who I supported to die with love and dignity. I have given somebody warm and clean clothes when they had none. I have introduced somebody to money after being in hospital for 20 years and not being allowed to hold their own. I supported a mum to take some small steps to get up every morning so she could take her child to school and they could stay together. I have sat with somebody who's determined to take their own life, and I listened to them about why they wanted to do that. I had cat litter thrown at me when I removed a person from their home to detain them under the Mental Health Act. I can remember these people clearly, and those experiences have shaped the leader I am today. Within adult social care, we need to feel more confident about showing our sense of pride and celebrate the small things that we do each day. I started in part-time care work at the age of 17, youth work at 18, and full-time social care job at the age of 20. I had no aspirations to be an ADASS president back then. I mean, who would? And indeed, I once described being at DASS as being soulless. I'm not sure if the DASS I said that to is here yet, but he was a really important person in modelling that having soul was an important part of that director role, and I have him to thank for being here today. As a young adult, I had no idea that I was shaping a lifelong career in health and social care, an endeavour I received very little support or opportunity to do. Too few people who come into adult social care are encouraged and able to build a career in the way that I've been lucky to do so. This is why we desperately need a new strategy and a new deal for people in the social care workforce. Not just fair pay, but a reasonable career structure, meaningful incentives, and a real drive to recruit people into the profession, and hopefully they'll stay with us. Care work has changed radically in my time. I can remember my first few weeks in adult social care and I was absolutely clueless. I had no idea what I was doing, I had no real skill, I had no technique, but I had a real drive to care for people. That was what motivated me. I've got memories of tea trolleys, providing good service and doing things for people whether they wanted it or not. That's how we used to do social care. So we still care, but fortunately we have knowledge, we have evidence-based practice, we've got researched approaches and interventions and evidence base. We use technology, we've got equipment, and we have a system of legislation, although much of it needs reform. We're very well aware of that. We've got outstanding reform. But we still have that now, and that guides our practice to be informed, placing the person at the centre of what we do. Workforce will remain a priority for us in ADASS, and we're going to work alongside Skills for Care, and you're going to hear about that later as David presents the work so far in the workforce strategy. To produce an approach that will make sure as professionals in adult social care, whatever our role, because let's be honest, it's a very diverse workforce with peer support, people that support someone with a direct payment, people that work in care homes, approved mental health practitioners, it's huge and diverse. So wherever they are, so we want to make sure they've got the pay, the recognition, the wellbeing support, and that importantly, the pathways they deserve. We remain caring and compassionate, but most importantly, through those years, I've learned it's not my definition of happiness that counts. It's about achieving what means happiness for that person, and co-production is going to remain our goal. Indeed, the next session you'll be hearing about our progress with that, and I'm so pleased that we've been able to do that. In ADASS, we embrace that now, and people with lived experience attend this conference and share the stage with us. It's everyday practice now. So turning to inclusion and membership engagement, I hope you've had a chance to hear about the work of ADASS over the last couple of days. Trustees have sought to understand your experiences and particularly to understand what being an ADASS member is all about in order to change the way we influence and go about our business. We want to harness the power of our members and networks and amplify your diverse and different voices. We want to get this heard by government. I can provide leadership from ADASS to do that, but it will take your commitment to make it work. The membership review is all about us building our collective voice and making ADASS an indispensable part of what enables you to do your day job. Our aim is to build a culture that celebrates the impact that you have in our social care, painting a picture of the difference we collectively make. To build a strong narrative reflecting the stories from our places, and that is well understood by policymakers and public alike. So excuse me. So yesterday, Beverly explained to you the progress we've made of our Carers Challenge. I've been really struck by Beverly's drive and passion for the carers' work, and hopefully you felt that too yesterday. ADASS has taken great strides in building the sorts of allegiances, collaborations and joint ventures that we need to do to continue to inspire people, to draw attention to carers and to describe what's needed to support them. There's a lot of great practice out there. We heard yesterday about the work in East Sussex, and I was struck by the creativity, the diversity and difference about making some small changes to the way somebody lives and enjoys their life. Carers will remain a priority for us. In the social care survey, spring survey, you told us, well 91% of you told us, that carers is still a big concern for you. And that's carers are coming forward with an increased level of need of support. That carer burnout is the main driver of family breakdown. Enabling carers to care through more carers leave, support when it's needed most, and navigating our systems of digitally enabled care and support are core to our priorities this year. I don't consider myself a carer, but I am a mum, and I'm a mum with additional caring and parenting responsibilities for one of my sons. Being a mum has made me who I am today. I'm proud to be a working parent, a ruthless time manager, and endlessly organised. But at times I've also felt exhausted, overwhelmed, frustrated, and really finding it impossible to navigate the systems that keep me in work and my son at school. It's been a struggle. So now as I'm facing this stage, because he's 16, of moving into adulthood, I do so with a huge anxiety given the stories I hear from the parents we support. All too often we don't do enough to plan ahead in a timely way. We end up working to resolve problems in councils that we've created ourselves. So therefore, I'm so proud that this year I share a joint priority with Andy Smith, the President of ADCS, to make sure that we build a system of special educational needs support that's sustainable through the life course, and particularly through transitions. I can't promise to sort out preparation for adulthood, as one DASS asked me to do and said I'd get a damehood for it. Thank you, Phil Holmes. But I can say that I'm going to lead for better working with our colleagues across the system to make this a serious priority this year. So each ADASS president brings their own flavour to the year. And whilst we care about delaying and preventing need and talk about demand management, for me, I have a passion for redistributing health and wealth to those people's lives who are challenged the most. So prevention is going to be continuing one of my personal priorities. Too often social care is seen through the lens of hospital discharge. For example, a report from the NHS Confederation's conference last year showed that 80% of NHS leaders claim that adult social care capacity was the biggest single reason for their urgent care demand. That is just disproportionate and untrue. We know that 4 in 5 people through our spring survey access our services through the community and community referrals. Even worse, social care is often seen as part of the NHS, at best about care home support for older people. This isn't just about us wanting recognition or feeling good about ourselves in local government. This is about achieving the social care and social justice for people that deserve it, the adults that need our support. So we've seen the NHS buckling under their increasing need to use urgent and emergency care as the default option for treatment. We see each year significant increases in the amount of people being given mental health support through Mental Health Act detention. NHS England say there's an increased number of people with autism admitted to hospital for support, despite the success that we've had in social care for supporting people to leave long-stay hospitals. We've worked to change really hard the way that we support people with cumulative need through safeguarding, recognising that risk isn't just about social care needs and self-neglect. But at the same time, we've seen our partners buckling to provide support and access to basic things like income support, housing, advice, healthcare. Therefore, our ADASS focus on building inclusive community support close to home must remain. We all advocate for the capital investment needed to build sustainable all-age support, and we will advocate for the work of the integrated care system to enable funding flows from both prevention of crisis and recovery from crisis when it occurs. The capital investment needed to address digital and technology we need to improve care, and you can hear my thoughts about it later, we've got a workshop with Channel 3, are crucial because a digitally enabled life is a right for people to have in their daily living. We will continue to share more stories of the diverse lives of people we support through co-production, and we're going to give credibility to that voice through more assertive ADASS. The Care Act celebrates its anniversary this year, and David was president 10 years ago and implemented the Care Act alongside you as a membership. So hands up those who remember it, because I can remember endless programme board meetings, debating with legal about whether implementing legislation needed consultation or a decision report. But I do remember also our mood from that time. We had great optimism. We thought things very differently. The Care Act was amazing, wasn't it? Because it brought together a whole range of legislation that was impossible to navigate at the time. So I had a lot of excitement about the social justice for people through the Care Act. But when it comes to policy, funding, cross-government action, we have a decade of disappointment since. We have rightly come to the conclusion that we have to make our own weather. Time to Act, 12 months ago we launched that, is one of those mechanisms that we see as making our own weather. Hearing from those around us, and you heard from colleagues yesterday, Time to Act is a really useful document and framework for reform. And through those relationships and partnerships, we want to influence and make it happen. The key issue that many of you have raised with me, and through repeated feed through our surveys, is that we need greater challenge of the government and our systems and of our status quo. Being in the tent is crucial for us when working with colleagues in the department in negotiating funding and support for us, and they do support us really well. But at the same time, we can bring challenge, encourage and nurture a debate on adult social care, and bring forward our energy from the Care Act to negotiate a national reform agenda. We've really got to focus about how we bring about social justice and maximising the impact that we have. But we've been here before. Politicians make promises about reforming social care and don't fulfil them. To build sustainable political backing to transform care and support in England, we need the trust of government decision makers, their confidence that solutions we're proposing will work. We need to change the way the public thinks about social care so that we see it as important to them, their families' well-being, and as important as the NHS, even if they don't need that support right now. That's why we're working with Social Care Future, LGA, TLAC, colleagues in the room, and to form this social care movement and the reform board. And every one of you is going to be a leader in that movement. You are social care. You and your teams improve the lives of some of the most difficult circumstances every day. And I'm proud of that. Pride in what we do in adult social care is something I want to see us assert and claim. Despite the cuts in funding that we've had taken, we do some amazing things every day. We still deliver care and support to 835,000 people, but we could do more. There's still almost 500,000 people waiting for assessment, care and support, and that simply is indefensible. We need to look for the next government to fully grasp the nettle of lasting reform. We must use the opportunity presented by the coming general election campaign to put the cause of adult social care in the spotlight and our politicians on the spot. We face this challenge of ADASS operations in good shape. We've invested in the team, we are strengthening links with regions, we've built strong allegiances and alliances. Lastly, I want to give some thanks. So don't worry, I'm not going to stand here and be like I'm receiving an Oscar, but there are some important people I want to recognise. So ADASS and colleagues out there who've supported and mentored me in the last couple of years, you know who you are. Thank you very much. Colleagues from Nottinghamshire joining me today, my leader and cabinet member back in the County Council, who are so proud of me taking on this role. So as well as recognising the support I get from the team, I want to pay tribute to Cathy, who's at the back there. So thank you, Cathy, for your support to me and ADASS over the last 10 years, well, nearly 10 years. So I need some water. So we've worked hard in the last 6 months as trustees in progressing the reviews and how we work. And I welcome the support from Anna, who's just joined us, who's going to take on that work and lead it for us. I hope you can see as ADASS members that we've listened to you, taken the time to hear your feedback and have taken action. So in summary, ADASS is growing in profile and influence. It's a privilege to be asked to lead on it on the next stage of the journey and at such a critical juncture. I hope you all work with me to ensure we continue to raise our profile and influence, and most importantly, the profile and influence of people that we support. Thank you.